Okay, so we are in A2 Unit 1, Lesson 2. We're going to review the order of operations. And most of the time, some of you learned it as PEMDAS, but we call it GEMDAS. Parentheses is a grouping symbol, but it's not the only grouping symbol. So that's why a lot of us have switched to the GEMDAS. It's grouping symbols, and those can be parentheses, brackets. Your absolute value signs can be a grouping symbol. Your fraction bar can be a grouping symbol. So anything that groups a certain set of numbers together. I do want to remind you that multiplication, division, the MD part, and the addition, subtraction. Multiplication, division, you do them as you come to them from left to right. You don't just do all the multiplication. You do multiplication or division as you come to it from left to right. Same thing with addition, subtraction. So let's just work through some examples here. That helps more than just trying to talk about it. All right, here's problem number 1. Now the first thing you see is that grouping symbol, the parentheses. So let's go within that set of parentheses first and simplify. Now 2 to the third power, 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. And 11 minus 8 is 3. So what we actually have at this point is 29 minus 3. Once you've performed all the operations in the parentheses, you can drop those. And I'm not going to do anything else right now. I'm just copying it down as it is. All right, my next step is to do exponents. Well, I already had to do these exponents because that was a part of getting rid of the parentheses. But now let's do this one. So I've got 29 minus 3 plus 6 squared is 36. All right, now I'm on multiplication, division. I'm going to come to here to the left, and I'm going to work my way until I find either multiplication or division. And I see 36 divided by 4 is 9. So what I have at this point is 29 minus 3 plus 9. All right, 29 minus 3 is 26, and 26 plus 9 is 35. Okay, here's number 2. So we're looking for grouping symbols first. Now, like I said, your absolute value signs are a grouping symbol. So we're going to get rid of this. Well, what is the absolute value of negative 8? Well, it's just positive 8. So I've got minus 8 times 6 divided by 16. Next is exponents. 4 to the third power, 4 times 4 is 16, times 4 is 64. So I've got 64 minus 8 times 6 divided by 16. Okay, back to the beginning. I'm ready for multiplication, division. So I'm going to go all the way across. Well, here's 8 times 6, which is 48. So now I have 64 minus. All right, 48 divided by 6 would be next because it's still multiplication, division. And 48 divided by 16 is 3. 64 minus 3 is 61. Okay, here's number 3. So we have multiple grouping symbols here. Your fraction bar actually groups the top and the bottom together. And then you have the parentheses, then you have the absolute value signs. So let's go to the innermost part first, and we're just going to work on the top first, then we'll do the bottom. All right, 10 minus 12 is negative 2, but the absolute value of negative 2 is positive 2. So what we start off with is 2 plus, all right, 5 squared is 25. So now I've got 9 minus, and I'm going to go ahead and do 2 to the second power to get 4. All right, 2 plus 25 is 27. So now I have 7 minus 27 over 9 minus 4. All right, 7 minus 27 is negative 20. 9 minus 4 is 5. Negative 20 over 5 is negative 4. Okay, once again, we have multiple grouping symbols. So we've got these parentheses here. This can just be simplified, and then we have the top and the bottom of the fraction bar. So let's go inside first, inside the parentheses. 3 squared is 9. 2 minus 9 is negative 7. And negative 7 squared is 49. All right, the square root of 81 is 9. Now down here, we want to do multiplication division. We don't have a g, we don't have any exponents, so we've worked our way down to m and d. 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 10 minus 2 is 8. So what we wind up with is 58 over 8. Now this can be simplified. 2 will go into both of these. So 58 divided by 2 is 29 over 4. Okay, so here's number 5. I know it looks bad, but let's just go to the innermost part first. You see the brackets on the outside, they work their way into the parentheses. And then inside the parentheses, we have absolute values. So let's take care of that first. Negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. But then the absolute value of negative 4 is just going to be positive 4. So what we have at this point is the bracket 15 minus, all right, what is the square root of 9? 3. We're still inside this set of parentheses. So now 4 plus 3 was 7, and then that is squared over 3 minus 3 cubed. All right, 15 minus 7 is 8, so you have 8 squared. 3 to the third power, 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is 27, and 3 minus 27 is negative 24. So what you have at this point is 64 over negative 24. Now these will reduce down, so it's going to be negative. Let's just go ahead and put the negative out front. What will go into 64 and 24? 8 will. So 64 divided by 8 is 8, and 24 divided by 8 is 3, and you can leave it improper. So negative 8/3. Okay, here's number 6. So let's just start whittling away at it. I'm going to come down here to the end because this is a grouping symbol. The absolute value of negative 5 is just 5. So that gets rid of that. All right, let's see what else we can do. Within this set of parentheses, 9 minus 15 is 6, and then 6 squared is 36. So let's go ahead and bring that down. Within this set of parentheses, 2 to the second power is 4, and 7 minus 4 is 3. Okay, square root of 49 is just 7 plus 5, and then we have minus 5 there. Okay, 36 times 3 is, let's see, 6 times 3 is 18, 3, 9, 108 over 7, 8, it's 12 minus 5. All right, 108 divided by 12 is 9, and 9 minus 5 is 4. Okay, number 7, we're given an expression and we need to evaluate it after we fill in all these numbers. So here's the expression with these values filled in. And let's start by getting rid of these parentheses. And in order to get rid of the parentheses, I'm going to have to square what's in there. All right, so that's going to give me 3 times. Negative 4 squared is going to be 16, positive 16. All right, 8 plus 12 is going to be 20, so let's go ahead and reduce that, or add that together. All right, 3 times 16 is 48 over 20. And then to reduce that fraction down, 4 will go into both of them. So 4 will go into 48 12 times and into 25 times, so 12/5. Okay, here's number 8. Here's our expression. These are the values that we need to evaluate this expression for. So here I've already filled in the m and the n with 2 and negative 3. So let's go inside the absolute value first. See these parentheses. Negative 3 squared is going to be positive 9. So let's see where we are now. 10 times 2 is 20 minus 8 times 9 is 72. Now 20 minus 72 is negative 52, but the absolute value of negative 52 is positive 52. Okay, here's number 9. Now before I do number 9, I want to refresh your memory about something. If you have negative 5 squared and there are no parentheses, then your square only affects the number. So this would actually be negative 25. The only time that exponent can affect the sign is if the sign is on the inside and the exponent is on the outside. So the answer to this one would be positive 25. All right, so you see the difference there. This time the exponent only affects that number. So it's like saying the negative of 5 squared, which is negative 25. All right, now when we start filling this in, when we fill the 5 in, this is just negative 5 squared. Okay, you see why that's going to be important. And then here, when I put negative 9 in for y, okay? So, since this is not in parentheses, the negative does not affect the sign. So this is just going to be negative 25, okay? Now, inside the parentheses here, negative 9 plus 2 is negative 7. So now I have negative 25 plus 7 times negative 7 is negative 49. And left to right, everything's added and subtracted. Negative 25 plus negative 49 is negative 74. This was a 1. Minus 1 is negative 75. Okay. Okay, so here's number 10. We have our expression. We have our values that we need to fill in. So this is the expression with these values substituted in. Let's use order of operations. We're going to do multiplication first. So 3 times 5 is 15. Now when you multiply a whole number times a fraction, good refresher, you're putting your whole number over 1 and then multiplying the numerators together. So that's 4 times 2 is 8 thirds. Okay, oops, 8 thirds. Now, when we combine fractions, you have to have a common denominator, and you know, if you want to use your calculator on this, go ahead. I'm going to do it by hand just as a good refresher. So I need to rewrite 15 as something over 3. Well, it was over 1, so what did you multiply 1 by to get 3? You multiplied it by 3, so you have to multiply the top by 3, so that new numerator becomes 3. Now nothing was done here. All right, 45 minus 8 is 37 over 3, and that won't reduce down. Okay, here's number 11. Here's our expression. Here's our values to evaluate with, and this is the expression after I filled in. I want you to notice. This says x equals negative 6. That's why when I filled it in to x squared, that's why the negative 6 went in parentheses, because the whole x is negative 6, all right? And we know that makes a difference with sign. So negative 6 squared is 36, and 8 squared is 64. 36 minus 64 is negative 28. All right, down here, negative 6 times 8 is negative 48. Now when you have minus a negative, what happens? It changes to plus a positive. These two canceled out. All right, the absolute value of negative 28 is just 28, and 28 plus 48 is 76. Okay, so here's number 12. Here's your expression if A is equal to 3, B is equal to negative 4. So I have filled in the 3 and the negative 4 for A and B. Let's go inside the parentheses or the grouping symbol first. Now, 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. 3 plus negative 8, and let's come down. 3 plus negative 8 is negative 5. When you have the negative inside the parentheses and the exponent outside, then it can change the sign. So that's going to be positive 25. Now when you multiply a whole number times a fraction, you got the whole number over 1. So multiply straight across the top, straight across the bottom. You get 50 over 5, which simplifies to 10. Okay, here's number 13. We're going to fill in the W and the V. W is equal to 2, V is equal to 18. So here's our expression with those values plugged in. Let's start to solve. We can just start straight through. Even though these are parentheses, and technically that is a grouping symbol, there's nothing grouped in there. This set of parentheses merely serves to separate and to show multiplication. So 2 to the third power, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. And 4 times 18 is 72. All right, down here I have the square root of 2 times 18 is 36. All right, 8 minus 72 is going to be negative 64. And the square root of 36 is 6. So we just need to simplify the fraction. It is going to remain negative. 2 will go into both of these. So you get 32 over 3. And here's number 14. We're going to fill in 1/4 for the m's, which I've done here. So let's start to simplify. First, we want to get the parentheses. So 1/4 squared, that means you square the numerator and the denominator. So what we have is 2 times 1 squared is 1, 4 squared is 16. All right, 9 times 1/4, this is actually 9 over 1, so you'd multiply across the top and across the bottom. All right, let's simplify this. When you multiply fractions, multiply across the top. So 2 times 1 is 2 over 16 plus 9/4. Now to simplify 2/16, that's going to be 1/8. I just divided both of them by 2 plus 9/4. What do you need when you add fractions? You need a common denominator. So what's common between 8 and 4? What will both of these numbers go into? Well, they'll both go into an 8. So what did you change from here to here? Nothing. So you don't change the numerator. What did you do from this denominator to get the new one? You multiplied by 2. So you got to multiply that by 2. So that gives you 1/8 plus 18/8, which is 19 over 8. Okay, now in this next section, we're not solving anything, we're not evaluating anything, we're just simplifying. And that means we're not going to get an answer. You have an expression here, there's no equal sign, it's not an equation. So you're just going to try to condense it some. All right, we're going to do that by combining like terms. So here, look for your x's. I have 16x minus 7x, so that's going to give me 9x. And then minus 11 plus 10 leaves me with minus 1. So 9x minus 1. All right, on this next one, another expression. Let's use our order of operations. So I need to get rid of the parentheses first. Now, the best way to get rid of parentheses is to perform the operation that's in there. But since I have a variable term and a constant term, I can't combine those. My next choice is to distribute what is outside the parentheses. So this is going to give me 13 plus 2 times 3n is 6n. 2 times minus 7 is minus 14. And then I have the 19n at the end. Okay, now let's combine terms. Let's start with our variable terms. 6n plus 19n is 25n. And positive 13 minus 14 gives me minus 1. We're still just simplifying. Number 17, we want to get rid of the parentheses, and in both cases we can't actually perform that operation, so we're going to distribute what is outside in both cases. 6 times c is 6c, and 6 times minus 2 is minus 12. Now here there's not actually a number, but you can distribute that minus sign. So that's going to give you minus 8c and minus 1. All right, 6c minus 8c is negative 2c. And minus 12 minus 1 is minus 13. Okay, number 18. Negative 15y minus 7z plus y plus 9z. Let's just match terms and combine. a negative 15 plus 1y gives you negative 14y. And negative 7z plus positive 9z gives you a positive 2z. Okay, here's your last two problems. So we're still just simplifying. We need to get rid of the parentheses first, so we're just going to distribute what is outside. 3 times 3a is 9a, and 3 times minus 5 is minus 15b. All right, down here there's not a number, but we're still going to distribute that minus sign, so we have minus a, and minus times minus it changes to positive or plus, so now you have plus 7b. All right, 9a minus a is 8a, and negative 15b or minus 15b plus 7b gives you minus 8b. All right, on our next one, same thing. We've got to get rid of the parentheses by distributing, so just watch your negatives. Negative 8 times 2 is negative 16x, and negative 8 times positive y gives you negative 8y, or minus 8y. All right, minus 3 times minus 5x gives you plus 15x, and minus 3 times minus 2y gives you plus 6y. So let's combine. Negative 16 plus 15 is negative 1x, or just negative x, minus 8y, and plus 6y gives you minus 2y. And that is all of the guided notes for lesson 2, so you should be able to go ahead and work through your practice problems now. Good job, y'all.